Sir, Mali, what happened today in the House and in the Senate?
Well, in the House, the Committee on Public Information finally conclusively approved the committee report. That was after a delay again by the chairman calling for another meeting to approve a committee report that was already voted in November 27. But just the same, we are very happy that now there is a committee report in the House. But what is more important is what happened today in the Senate. At the Senate plenary, the FOI bill, which has been renamed as the People's Ownership of Government Information Bill, has finally entered a period of amendments, and after completing the amendments, it was closed and it was passed on second reading. So it will only await a passage or confirmation of the vote on third reading. So it's passed. It now awaits the counterpart measure from the House, after which it can go into BICAM.
There were some amendments that were approved by the committee chairman. Were they significant in nature, or was there any significant impact on the bill itself?
These were the product of a very constructive interpellation by Senator Miriam Defensor Santiago based on constitutional issues. Some of them were accepted by the committee, some of them were respectfully declined by the committee, but I would like to state that this is part of the enriching of this bill and making it conform to existing constitutional interpretation. We must remember that the FOI is a constitutional provision and it has to be balanced with other constitutional interests, and I think that was the purpose of Senator Miriam Defensor Santiago's interpellation and amendment. So this was very constructive.
So we've had some progress today in both chambers of Congress, but what's the outlook? What's the outlook for the FOI?
Well, the outlook for the FOI is that it now depends on a critical movement in the House primarily. The challenge now is whether it can respond positively to the leadership that has been taken by the Senate. We must recall that this has been the second term that the Senate has passed this measure, and in the last Congress, it was at the House of Representatives that we had a problem, and I think now the onus is on Speaker Feliciano Belmonte to give this bill an outcome that is different from what the tragic fate that befell it under the House of former Speaker Nograles. So it is within their power, the power of the leadership of the House, to also declare this bill as urgent, and for the House rules to set a timeline for the consideration of this bill so that it is approved in time for BICAM and approval. But this is also where we are calling on the President to finally clarify its mixed signals on the FOI bill by certifying this as urgent. That will be a very big help if this bill will push.
Do we still have enough time? In the end, that's what it boils down to. Do we still have enough time in this Congress?
There is enough time if as I mentioned, the House leadership will commit to a timetable for passing this measure. And as I mentioned, if President Aquino will live up to the promise that has been given on the FOI bill and certify this measure as urgent, it is very much needed at this point. We have seen how measures that he has given a clear signal on has moved in Congress. Right now, we just saw the sin tax bill ratified at the Senate. They are expecting it to be ratified as well in the House. We have seen how the President's push has also made a very controversial measure, the RH bill, start to move as well in both houses, and we cannot see why, under the context of the government's platform of good governance and anti-corruption, he will not give a priority or certification of urgency for the FOI bill when it is very much needed to get this passed.